Hey, what's going on, everybody? So in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about my 4 favorite marginal trade targets that I'd like the Lakers to monitor and potentially get. These are players on cheap contracts who shouldn't cost a first-round pick to acquire, and names that I don't think Lakers Nation has talked enough about, but names that I'm very personally intrigued by. So without further ado, why don't we get to my list of my current top 4 favorite targets for the Lakers to go out and get. Some of these names you've heard me cover in past videos, but let's start at number 4 and make our way to the top to my number 1 preference. Alright, starting with number 4, let's talk about the Brooklyn Nets' Ziaire Williams. So Ziaire Williams is 23 years old. He is a 6'9" wing with a 6'10" wingspan. He is currently on an expiring $6 million contract. And yeah, I think for me, I'm just very intrigued by Ziaire Williams' measurables and the fact that this year with the Brooklyn Nets, he has really taken on the challenge of guarding the opposing team's best players on the perimeter. While he's not an established point of attack defender yet, he has done a really solid job in that position for the Brooklyn Nets this season. He's not very strong or imposing, but kind of like Cam Reddish, he slides his feet very well and is pretty slithery on defense. And obviously he has a really long 6'10" wingspan, which he knows how to leverage. He also does a solid job of cutting off opponents' driving lanes and utilizing his length to disrupt shots in general. And yeah, for me, he's just really good, moldable, physical clay. He has really good mobility and agility, and obviously he just has really nice physical tools and length that I think a team like the Lakers can utilize. And this year with the Brooklyn Nets, he's made some really nice strides as a defender. And if he's able to continue down this trajectory, I think Ziaire Williams could be the next sort of Nickeil Alexander-Walker type of defender for a contending team because he's active, he's got the want to compete on the defensive end, and obviously he's got the physical tools as well. And so if you just put him in the right environment and continue to develop him and put him in the right role, I think he could really thrive in that point of attack defender role that Nickeil Alexander-Walker has thrived in for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Ziaire Williams is a pretty inconsistent offensive player. He's a pretty subpar, mediocre three-point shooter. He has shown the ability to put up 20-point games in the past, but again, it's on a tank team like the Brooklyn Nets, but you would be getting Ziaire Williams for his defensive potential. And so I just like Ziaire Williams as a defensive project that hopefully the Lakers can tailor into a Nickeil Alexander-Walker type player. So that is my number 4 most intriguing marginal trade candidate for the Lakers to look at. Now let's move on to number 3, and let's talk about the Toronto Raptors' Chris Boucher. This is a trade target that I have been hammering home as a player to monitor for Lakers fans and the Lakers in the past. Chris Boucher is 31 years old. He is a 6'9" power forward / center with a very long 7'4" wingspan. He's also a pretty frail 201 pounds. But yeah, that's his main weakness and problem, the fact that he is stick thin. Chris Boucher is also on a $10.8 million expiring deal this year. So what I like the most about Chris Boucher is the fact that he is a pretty elite threes and blocks sort of player. Outside of his gangly length, he's also a pretty athletic player who can run the floor very well, and he can also put the ball on the floor and attack closeouts pretty well and finish strong at the basket. And this year with the Raptors, Chris Boucher has really been killing it off the bench for them. He's essentially averaging 11 points, 5 rebounds, 0.6 steals, 0.8 blocks, hitting some three-pointers. And I liken Chris Boucher to the version of Jared Vanderbilt who can actually knock down some threes and actually has some offensive proficiency. Again, he can put the ball on the floor a little, he can attack closeouts well, he can finish in the lane much better than Jared Vanderbilt. Now, he's not the type of point of attack defender that Jared Vanderbilt is, but with his 7'4" wingspan, he can still leverage his length to bother ball handlers. And most importantly, he's a better rim protector than Jared Vanderbilt is. He has shown the ability to, in the past, really rack up the blocks and protect the rim as the weak side shot blocker. So now that the Lakers have better clarity with Jared Vanderbilt, and that clarity being the fact that we just can't rely on him moving forward because we just have no idea if he'll ever be 100% health-wise the rest of this season. So under that context, I feel like the Lakers need to almost get a Jared Vanderbilt sort of replacement And I think Chris Boucher could be that type of Vando replacement who, again, is a little bit weaker when it comes to defending the perimeter, but he fills out well in pretty much every other aspect of the game that Jared Vanderbilt is pretty weak at. Now, Chris Boucher does not have the playmaking ability that Jared Vanderbilt does, but he can create his own shot at times. And yeah, he's just the more offensively versatile version of Jared Vanderbilt. The best way I describe Chris Boucher's game is if you took Markieff Morris in the Lakers title championship bubble season, take Markieff Morris's offensive abilities and transfer it into Jared Vanderbilt's long, gangly body, and there's Chris Boucher. He's also kind of like a bull type of player. He's versatile on both ends of the floor. He's just not the burly, big, rim-protecting center that the Lakers would want. But in this sense, I'm almost viewing Chris Boucher as the one-for-one Vando replacement until Jared Vanderbilt gets healthy. So there is my number 3 current favorite marginal trade target for the Lakers to look at in Chris Boucher. But before we get into my number 2 favorite trade target for the Lakers to look at, if I could just remind you guys to please do me the huge favor of liking this video, commenting down below, and most importantly, please hitting subscribe. Maraming kamsamnigato very much. All right, let's talk about my number 2 favorite trade target on the market, and let's talk about the Chicago Bulls' Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith is 24 years old. He is 6'9" with a 7'2" wingspan. He toggles back and forth between playing the power forward and center position. The Chicago Bulls signed him this offseason to a 3-year contract. He's making $8 million this year and about $9 million the next 2 years. So the best way that I would describe Jalen Smith is he's kind of like an athletic, stronger, better defending version of Thomas Bryant. Or think of him as the more centery version of Christian Wood, who's more athletic and explosive, and I think gives more of a damn on the defensive end as well. So Jalen Smith, in a nutshell, is strong, he's explosive, he's athletic, he's a really good finisher in the paint, and the best part about his offensive game is that he can really stretch the floor, whether it's at the 3-point line or with a mid-range jump shot. But overall, I just really love Jalen Smith's energy and motor. He is like capturing lightning in a bottle when it comes to injecting a team with life, activity, and overall hustle. I love how explosive he gets off of the ground to either hammer down these crazy sick poster jams on people's heads or to challenge defenders right at the rim, while still being able to be a plus on the offensive end as well, because again, he can hit mid-range jump shots, he can pick and pop out to the 3-point line and hit that shot very consistently. But for the Lakers' sake, I think it will be his infectious hustle, motor, and energy that can be the biggest value to this Lakers team that so often lacks guys who care, guys who hustle for the 50-50 balls, guys with legitimate athleticism and dynamic energy. And all of that is bundled up into the player that is Jalen Smith, so I think the Lakers should go out and try and acquire him. All right, so for my number 1 current favorite marginal trade target that I'd like the Lakers to look at, let's talk about the Houston Rockets' Jae'Sean Tate. Jae'Sean Tate is 29 years old. He is a 6'4" wing with a 6'8" wingspan, but he does weigh a very hefty 230 pounds. He is currently on an expiring $7.5 million contract. And as it stands, he is not even playing for the Houston Rockets. He's completely out of their rotation and racking DNPs on the regular. And so for a player like that to be sitting on the Houston Rockets bench, the Lakers could really use a Jae'Sean Tate on their team. They need a goon. They need a bully ball sort of guard/wing. They need that pit bull on the defensive end that can help inject their team with that sort of tenacity. And that is exactly who Jae'Sean Tate is. So even though Jae'Sean Tate is only 6'4", he is built like an absolute slab of rock. And because he's so strong and physical, the Houston Rockets have actually played him primarily at the power forward position, and at times even at small ball 5 as well. Think of Jae'Sean Tate as a very poor man's version of Draymond Green, who can kind of do a little bit of everything on both ends of the floor. And so Jae'Sean Tate is just one of my favorite dark horse targets for the Lakers to look at because he is such a dog on the defensive end of the floor. He's super strong and he's got a really good low center of gravity. If guards and wings try to go through him or try to dribble against them, they will be stopped right in their tracks because he is a complete brick wall on the defensive end of the floor. But not only that, he's also pretty quick. He's got really nice active hands and he'll strip the ball away from you as well. So on top of being such a rock on the defensive end, he's got good mobility and agility for someone in that sort of bulky frame. It's almost a little Ron Artest-y. A little. So yeah, pretty much everything I said about Jalen Smith in terms of hustle, motor, activity, and good solid sturdiness in his frame, I see all of those same qualities in Jae'Sean Tate, but just in a 6'4" guard/wings body instead of a 6'9" power forwards body. Now, on the one hand, I want to say that he's a very realistic target for the Lakers to go out and get because he's on an expiring $7.5 million contract, and obviously the Houston Rockets aren't even using him. He should be easy to get. But at the same time, the Houston Rockets are in the same conference as the Lakers, and they are trying to make the playoffs in the West, so would they be willing to give the Lakers a valuable defensive player like Jae'Sean Tate, a player that the Lakers so sorely lack more of on their roster? And then on top of it, even if they were willing to give up Jae'Sean Tate to the Lakers, do the Lakers have anyone of value that the Houston Rockets would actually want? So that's where it kind of gets tricky when it comes to trying to find a viable trade between these two teams. But hey, if Rob can actually find a way to get it done, if the Houston Rockets have no use of Jae'Sean Tate and would actually want some second round picks in return and maybe like, I don't know, a Gabe Vincent, I would absolutely swing that deal. So yeah, those are my current top 4 personal favorite marginal trade targets that I feel like not enough people are talking about that I would like the Lakers to consider more heavily. All right, that does it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any other names that you guys would want me to consider or that you would want the Lakers to consider, because I'm clearly not the GM, although I think I would do a better job than Rob Ayo. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this list. And yeah, please remember to like this video, comment down below, and most importantly, please hit subscribe on this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. With that said, this has been Jonathan Hernandez of the Lakers Legacy Podcast, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.